All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to one and all. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to Technical Session 5A. Myself, Deepika Jain. I would be hosting the session here. That would be moderated by me. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the 8th International Congress on Information and Communication Technology, ICICT 2023, London, United Kingdom. The 8th edition of this conference is being organized in a hybrid mode. The physical event was held in London, that is on 28th and 21st February. And the virtual event is being organized through Zoom, that is on 22nd and 23rd February. I hope you will enjoy the interactive and knowledgeable sessions today. In this session, we have 6 presentations. Each presenter would be getting 12 minutes to present their paper and 2-3 minutes for question and answers. On 10 minutes, I would be giving a time check, a gentle reminder in case to avoid any delay. And there is another request for the participants to please stay in this session till the end. And if you have any query, you can drop me a message in the chat box. All right. Just before I get started, I would like to introduce to our session chair. Julius Aroba. Just a minute.
Hello, everybody. And good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
and good morning to everybody.
So if you would like to give a quick brief about yourself.
So I'm Dr. Julius Aroba, and I'm a lecturer in Global Investment Technology in South Africa. And my core research areas are in artificial intelligence, data science, robotics, and so on and so forth. And more than 10 years teaching and research. And yeah, welcome to everybody to the conference.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your presence. And we have our another session chair, that is Ruchi Nanda. I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Give a brief about yourself?
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm Dr. Ruchi Nanda, Associate Professor from IIS deemed to be University, Jaipur, that is India. I'm working here since 18 years in the same institution, and my areas of interest are in cloud computing, database management system, NoSQL data stores, and query optimization. I wish all the participants in this conference best of luck, all of you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your presence. So we'll begin with our first presentation that would be given by Ivanov Serihi. He would be presenting a paper on application of super resolution for optical character recognition in low quality images. I welcome you. You can start sharing your screen.
Hi, I'm from Ukraine, Lviv National University.
Please share your screen.
Okay. 1 minute. So do you see article?
Yes, sir, I can see it.
So it's application of super resolution for optical character recognition in low quality images. We investigated several optical system which recognize text from images, and discovered that they have low quality recognition when image is in low quality. So our work is dedicated to solving this problem. The problem we're referring is for scanned documents in low quality. For example, when you making archive of those documents and so on. The problem is related to out-of-domain errors. First, we created dataset. This dataset contain 10,000 images from book War and Peace. Part of them, 80%, we got for training purpose for our network. And the other one, 20%, we used for testing purpose and understanding the quality of recognition. So this is the attribute of images we got from this book. And we created for testing to another dataset. One, you can see the image in the middle. It's the original image, which is downsampled 2 times. And the third dataset is when original image is downsampled 4 times. So our proposal is to get PAN model architecture, which is pixel attention network, and make 2 changes to this architecture. The first one is to train on our dataset from scratch. And the second change is to change loss function. Usually we have 2 types of loss function, L1 and L2, but they are not very good for images because on those 6 images, L1 loss function is the same, but you can see that some images are better and some images are worse for detection purpose. So we based our loss function on multi-structure, multi-scale structured similarity index, which is, you can see here. And it gives us different types of value for those images, which is closer to our needs. This index consists of two types of variables. X and Y are related to 2 images. This variable is average lighting, and this is standard deviation. So we created our loss function based on this similarity index. Also, we used multi-scale similarity index, which is based on similarity index, but for different scales. For metric purpose, we used metric from which is used usually for PAN network. It's peak signal to noise ratio. And when we used OCR systems, we created metric which is based on distance between texts. So it is 1 when texts are completely different, when every character is different, and 0 when text is the same. So in this on this table, you can see the result of our testing. First 2 are related to bilinear and bicubic interpolation of image when we scale image in 4 times back to original size, and use bilinear or bicubic interpolation. In the third case, we used our approach with PAN network. So as you can see, for PSNR, similarity is better when it is bigger. So as you can see, for images downscaled in 2 times, we got some good result. And for images which is downscaled and then upscaled in 4 times, relative result is much better. The same we have for estimating similarity index and multi-scale similarity index. The next, our testing was using Tesseract OCR system, which is detecting symbols and character itself on the image. So you have for each data set, you can see 2 results, one without using our approach, and the other one using our approach. As I told, this metric show us similarity of text. So 0 is when text is the same, and you can see that detecting text for Tesseract is better using our preprocessing preprocessing approach for images which is downscaled in times. And it is a very, very good result we have for images which is downscaled in 4 times. And one big why our approach is very good is that it allow you to use existent OCR systems without retraining those systems and get much better results. That's all.
So are you done with your presentation?
Yes, I have done with my presentation. Please ask questions.
Any questions, ma'am?
Yes, Mr. Ivanov, can you please suggest some of the factors that you considered for finding out the errors which you were talking about of the out of domain errors?
Out of domain, because OCR systems are not supposed to use archived text. So it's not problem of the error of the model. It's problem that they are not they're not supposed to be used in such situations.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
We have our next presenter, Thomas. Are you here?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Allow
We
me to
did
share.
have our previous presenter. So are you ready with the presentation?
Yeah, sure, I can do that.
All
Just
right.
give me a moment, I'll share.
Yeah, please. I request the participants to rename your name with the ones which you have given us at the time of registration, please. It would be easy for me to identify. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Is my screen visible and I'm
Yes,
audible
it's
to you?
visible. Yeah, you can start.
All right. Good afternoon, all. I'm Dr. Madeline Savio from the Wellness and Resiliency Division of Research at Justice. My co-authors and I are mental health researchers, and we support the trust and safety domain at Taskus, which is involved in protecting users as well as upholding the trust of various social platforms on the internet. Our presentation today, entitled Social Media Police and Wonder Girl, is an attempt to showcase the human stories of individuals directly responsible for online content safety, more commonly known as content moderators. So first, I'd like to briefly touch on the origins of the trust and safety industry. Social media gave us this brave new virtual world that allowed us to connect not just with each other, but larger entities like businesses and government across all barriers, time, differences, whatever we had. And most of us ourselves have very deeply engaged with this medium, and through our conversations, posts, content that we've uploaded, and thus dawned this era of user-generated content. This chart from Statista for 2021 evidences that majority of content online emerges from these very familiar social networks. And in fact, numbers coming in for 2022 suggest that nearly 1 million hours of content have been streamed by users across the globe in just one internet minute. As more and more hands get hold of social media, darker forces are also coming into play. And as George Orwell famously remarked in his novel Animal Farm, some users on social media want to feel more equal than others in order to overpower and exploit. And in the language of social media, these forms of exploitation come in the form of content that could be abusive, involves hate speech, targeted abuse, could also be profiteering, and demeaning, misleading, whatever, right? So there has been in recent years a significant increase in content violations across social platforms, right? And this is the reason why social media started to need guardians or keepers who could weaken the proliferation of such misleading posts and uphold human interests. This is the very moment when content moderation burst and trust and safety took off. And why do we really need to be concerned about content moderators, right? At this very moment around the globe, close to 90,000 full-time content moderators work in order to review user-generated posts, so that only those that sort of sync with the platform's guidelines or rulebook, as well as local legislations, are retained on the platform. While efforts are on to leverage artificial intelligence to reduce human involvement in content moderation processes, it is highly unlikely that in the near future, human oversight will completely disappear, simply because content is becoming increasingly diverse and complex with each passing day. Content moderators as such constitute a workforce that we as a society need, as well as have a responsibility to protect and nurture. The problem, however, is that there's not enough reliable documentation or literature on the content moderation work. There are sparse media and anecdotal reports which focus narrowly on contract or gig workers, as well as only certain regions of the world, like Asia. However, the reality is far from this. At Taskus, for instance, we have nearly 7,000 full-time content moderators who are employed with similar terms of benefits and employment, just as other employees in any other business function. And so today on this eminent platform, we wanted to bring an evidence-based, research-based perspective to the popular narrative with our research study, wherein we interviewed directly content moderators, 32 of them, 16 each from the US and India, in order to understand their experiences and identities as content moderators. We used an interpretative phenomenological approach in order to theoretically reconstruct the life world of content moderators based on their retelling of their stories and experiences on the job. We found 4 major themes, or in a sense, these 4 pillars in the content moderators' experiences. So their daily encounters on the job were influenced by or affected these 4 key areas. And I would like to discuss each of these in detail because they are potential areas for solutioning. First up is content. Contrary to popular belief and media reports, a majority of the participants in our sample did not consider content to be majorly affecting their adjustment to the job. Yes, during their initial days in the job, they did experience a certain shock when egregious or graphic content showed up on their work screens as part of the review process. However, with work tools as well as with cultural training on the job, they did adapt to the workflow process. American participants, for instance, made use of tools like Blur, Grayscale, as well as screen caps in order to preview content without having to engage with it fully and yet be able to execute accurate actions on that particular flagged post or content. Indian participants, on the other hand, were slightly more empathetic because they expressed that humans are naturally capable of producing and consuming graphic content. And as one of them remarked, it's a part of life and it's normal. And so what you see, whether it's American or Indian content moderators, is an attempt to meaningfully habituate to one's job for the greater good, right? So, and this meaningful habituation is so important for us as employers or as a society to nurture, just to ensure that they are satisfied with their jobs and that they stay in their jobs, right? And because it's an essential for the society. Um, and in fact, our Indian and American content moderators expressed that given the diversity of content that they are exposed to, they in fact feel more open-minded and they're aware of a wide range of cultures, preferences, and lifestyles across the globe. This leads me to look or focus on their identity as individuals and within their families. For most of our participants who were in the age range of 20 to early 30s, this was their first job, which in a way paved their way into adulthood by giving them financial independence and also psychological maturity, given how much they were being exposed to on the job. Yet, within their family spaces, particularly in India, a lot of them did not want to disclose the type of work that they were involved in because of the taboo that is associated with graphic content. Like in the words of one of our participants, this content moderation work is very far away conceptually from my family as well as my friends. So at the individual level, our participants experienced immense pride in contributing to social safety. However, they did not experience validation in their social circles. And this is why there is a need for more public discourse as well as support and nurturing for the content moderation profession. The third, and might I add, a very important, significant theme in the content moderators' experiences is their belonging to a team. Each one of our participants, without exception, highlighted that the coordination and cooperation that exists in their team is not just for their work goals, but also to enable each other's well-being. In fact, even during the pandemic, when they were working from home, they felt more connected than those physically working on the floors. It may be argued that content moderation, human-led content moderation, survives in our world because of this cohesive team ecosystem that acts as a frame of reference, collective reference for these content moderators who almost do invisible work in our society. And this is a way for them to make sense of their work as well as a key motivator for them to stay on in the job. Finally, we look at the dimension of client and employer. Content moderation by nature is a very fast-paced, detail-oriented job. And so content moderators within their teams have to achieve a target number of reviews within a certain time frame. Another layer in this drill is the client's rulebook for the platform, which constantly evolves to match the varying formats and the diversity of content that keeps coming in each passing day. So our participants expressed that there is a need to streamline the workflow processes and allow them more time to learn and apply these new and evolving guidelines. So more tooling is needed in these areas, right? Yet an overarching factor that set them up for success in their client projects as well as sustain their personal well-being was the employer or the organizational culture. Being able to access one-on-one counseling as well as wellness initiatives like gymnasium, break room provisions helped these participants to detach from work even while on their work shifts and reorient themselves in order to not just do well at work, but also maintain their personal well-being. Such a kind of a workplace that holistically cares for content moderators is rehabilitative and helps them thrive. If I have to bring the four themes together, which is content, individual and family, team as well as client and employer, we see that there were more similarities than differences between the American and Indian content moderators. They shared the sentiment that they're working for a greater purpose for the safety of society. And they also appreciated the profession of content moderation for bestowing on them the sense of purpose as well as individual maturation very early on in their careers. But at the same time, they did express the need for betterment in the workflow processes. And that falls back on us as a society, whether we are an employer, a client, or even doing research, a solutions architect, whatever role we play, we have a responsibility to nurture this profession and protect them so that they do well as protect the larger world. And only then is their well-being normalized, or provisions for their well-being normalized within business settings. At Taskers, we're continuously working to create the trust and safety industry that is content moderator centric. We, for one, offer an evidence-based psychological health program in both group and individual formats so that content moderators are cared for on a regular cadence. We've also developed standard protocols that help or inform hiring to offboarding of content moderators so that at no point is their safety as well as psychological health affected. And always we ensure that wellness is a key metric or a key parameter in all business considerations. Lastly, given that content moderation is here to stay, we have to care for these people, whether it is through tooling, technologies, our policies, and so on, in a manner that is not meant to completely replace, but to support content moderators or human-led content moderation. Right. And this kind of a culture as a society and as organizations, we believe, can go a long way in protecting our world, both online and offline, as well as safeguard the keepers of the internet.
Sorry for the interruption. You have 2 minutes left.
Yeah, I'm nearly done. Thank you for that, Deepika. Anyway, we hope that our study and our findings provide you some food for thought and give you some insight into the mechanics of trust and safety, which is fast growing. And we hope that you in your respective way also can think about contributing to this. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present our work. We are grateful for this platform. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Any questions, ma'am? Or sir?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, well done for the paper, but however, I didn't actually, because I was expecting that your presentation, we should be seeing the number of sites, though I do know that you said you did 16 for United States and 16 for India. But however, I also have another suggestion as well. I was thinking that a minute on the internet in 2021 should have been, you should have actually been talking about the recent times, which is 2022. So why didn't you look at that, and why are the data not in your presentation? So again, you need to look at the trends based on your analysis, but I couldn't even see any of that in your presentation. So do you want to tell us why?
Sure. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Firstly, for 2021, this is a report by Statista. So they have only released the reports that are formally there are only for 2021. 2022 statistics are still coming out. So which is what I mentioned, that there is a figure that 1 million hours of content was streamed in 2022, but it's not formally out there as a report, but it's more as an estimate. That is one. And secondly, you wanted to understand in terms of the trends. So firstly, I'd like to just mention here that we're not from a technical background. We're mental health researchers. So our intention was to put out the whole introduce the profession of content moderation and the whole human labor that goes into this. And while our paper is a lot more technical in terms of presenting the tables and the themes and so on, this is a qualitative study, so it's more theoretical in nature, not so much data driven, but more based on interviewees, excerpts and their interview data as such. So the themes that we found were the 4 pillars that I was talking of, which focused on those areas of their experience. If that makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question. Are you working on some project related to this?
Well, I work full-time at Taskers, which is a BPO that offers content moderation services for various social platforms. So our work as such on a daily basis is to monitor content moderators, do regular checks on their well-being, And we undertake a number of projects that involve tooling for their well-being. We undertake scorecards to assess their wellness as well as their productivity, right? So because being in a business, we need to assess productivity as well as wellness. And what we found over time is that when you provide a psychological safety program, employees, particularly in content moderation, there is a reduction of almost 50% in attrition, as well as an increase in tenure. So the idea is to provide more support through tooling or psychological support or whatever can help, to sustain this.
So in future, are you planning to combine it with some AI tools or?
Yeah. So for that, currently, even at TaskUs, we do use. So when we say content moderators, they're not first-hand reviewing content. It actually comes through an AI queue, which tags what type of content or what might it be flagged for, and then it comes on. Yeah. So AI is like a first line of defense, and then these content moderators or the human moderators review what action needs to be taken or into which bucket it falls and so on.
So how you selected these 32 content moderators?
It's a convenient sampling. We open up, we advertise the study, and then people who are interested to participate. We try. So when we did look at the demographics, they're all, matching the average age of content moderator population, which is about 24 to 28 years. And and they represent a very homogeneous population. Right?
Okay, yes, because homogeneity is very essential if you are taking such a case study. And in that perspective, right?
Yeah,
but
it was
overall,
more in-depth.
Overall, your topic is very interesting, especially the title, which says having Wonder Girl.
Yeah. That was in fact one of the what they call themselves. Like one of the Indian participants said, "I feel like a Wonder Girl because I do for society, right? In the dark hours, I'm doing all of this. Nobody sees it, but I feel like it." Yeah.
Right.
So thank you so much for your comments and observations.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank
you
you
so much.
We have our next presenter, Ebtisam Shatadi, who would be presenting a paper on ensemble feature selection and classification of medical data set. All right. Using k-nearest classifier with swarm intelligence. Yeah. So you can start with your presentation.
Hello. I present our work on ensemble feature selection, classification of medical dataset. Various data analytic technique can be used to predict the disease using data classification method. In our paper, we evaluate principal component analysis, support vector machine, factor analysis and ranking method are compared with our proposed CNN-based ensemble feature selection using k-nearest classifier. Our proposed method follows standard testing features with parameter optimization. Compared with the existing method, our method has 96% of accuracy results by using a TensorFlow simulator. As you know, the medical industry is producing a large number of data every day, which is an important area of big data application. In order to provide patients with the best services and care, medical institutions in many countries have proposed various models of medical information system. Medical data have the characteristic of disease diversity, heterogeneity of treatment and outcome, and the complexity of collecting, processing, and interpreting data. So the pre-processing is applied to select the attribute with significant feature, classifier, classified task, dominant factor, and dimensions. Process involved in medical data classification include data selection and pre-processing, dimension reduction, design of classifier using machine learning, optimization and performance evaluation of that classifier. Why we need feature selection? Because the presence of irrelevant feature To overcome this problem, dimension reduction technique are used to select the distinguishing feature. The large number of feature of original data set is reduced to smaller number of relevant feature through feature selection, feature extraction method. Feature selection approach include filter, wrapper, and embedded approach, whereas linear or non-linear transformation technique are adopted for a feature extraction method. This is type of feature selection, filters, wrappers, and embedded method. In classification model, we use machine learning. It has the ability to make accurate prediction using a diverse source of data. The learning method developed in and for these industries offer tremendous potential to enhance medical research and clinical care, especially as provide increasing employee electronic health record. Our proposed model, the proposed model has 3 attribute feature selection methods. We propose support vector machine with the combination of the CNN and key nearest classifier method. One of the major pre-processing steps is a principal component analysis with the transform original feature into represented space with accurate dimensions. It preserves the swarm intelligence optimization technique for feature extraction. The pre-processing is applied to select the attribute with significant feature, classified task, dominant factor, and dimension. We apply multiple technique means it's reduced the accuracy and major issues in execution time always increase. So the original data set always remained as keep, and multiple copies of data set can be used for evaluation. This is the process diagram for in sample feature selection and classification. First, medical dataset with multiple instances, load dataset, dimensional reduction, principal component analysis, and support vector machine. Then mark the accuracy index and compare the result with existing methods. Step involved, step 1, any format of dataset can be normalized and converted to pre-processing stage. Select the attributed and use classifier for reduction of dimension. Dataset can be modeled with less feature and size, also reduced with optimization index. Allocate the classifier value to simulator for generating a trained and test dataset. Simulate the environment with our proposed system. Accuracy is compared with existing methods such as factor analysis, ranking, and SVM classifier. Key nearest CNN classifier is the approach for calculating nature-inspired population in the category of swarm intelligence. The method is very suitable for our proposed method for evaluating feature selection with the agent modeling. This combined approach for reducing dimension, feature identity, and clustering. In this case, key means clustering represented as M clusters and N solution are obtained. This is our algorithm. Key nearest CNN classifier with the swarm intelligence algorithm for feature selection. In this work, swarm intelligence is used for selecting feature, and metaverse is obtained from binary solution from lower and upper boundaries as 0 and 1 respectively. This is the algorithm to reduce and divide population index into cluster key means algorithm. Examine the solution and select best M from centers. This is the performance validation. Dataset, diabetes and cancer, liver, health, the classes, instance, and feature. For data analysis process, Weka tool is used for classification for different dataset feature. The data is processed and decentralization is done by using decision tree approach.
Excuse me, ma'am. Good evening. I am also one of the author in this paper. So can I continue with that? This is Sahir Ahmad.
Yes, you can continue.
Yeah,
If
yes, ma'am.
Deepika permits, can we continue, Deepika?
Not more,
mean,
just, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, our paper is explaining about the feature selection and the classification of medical data sets using the k-nearest classifier. Actually, we are using here the medical data set. As we know, the medical data set is vast. Actually, why we are using this like dimensionality reduction we are approaching here? Why? Because of more data sets are available as a huge, large volume of the data sets, if it is available, means we are getting that accuracy of the medical, we are getting the accuracy of the results is very difficult. So that's why we are first after taking the medical data sets, so we are just using the feature selection and classification. And after the classifications, we are reducing the dimensionality. And after that, we are applying our techniques. Then we will get that accuracy results. So out of this, we have selected that existing methods like support estimation, factor analysis, and the ranking parameters. So out of this, when we are experimenting our results, when we found that the KNN algorithm is the best to produce a good result of accuracy. So this is our concept, ma'am. That's it. Usually the k-nearest algorithm we are using, that is a supervised learning classifier. Mainly we are going to use this algorithm for the classification and the dimensionality reduction. That's it. So here, this is our result. So finally, when we are implementing using the TensorFlow, and for the data mining, we are using the Vika tool. And after applying all these things, we are producing our results at 96% of accuracy compared than this existing. That's it, ma'am.
What steps you have covered in Vika?
So as usual, like how we are like a classification, then how we are the attributes. The attributes, how we are dividing into that. From that attributes,
Okay, feature selection, you have done it through Vika, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And
actually, from the using repository, we have taken the data sets, and from the using the Vika tool, we are applying that these attributes and everything. And with that, some algorithms, not fully involved, but somewhat we have get this information. So that's it.
Okay, you have applied all the things on the data set which you got from where did you get this data set?
UCI repository, ma'am. UCI repository. We have selected the few things only, like the heart disease, the cancer, and everything. So with that only, we have taken the few samples, and after that we did it. Not fully involved.
Right.
And also, I also noticed that you guys only select just about 4 algorithms. Why selecting only 4? Why, when you have larger comparison that you can make with? Because I was checking your validation as well. There's batch, there's DB-scan, and so on and so forth. Why do you limit your classifications to these in comparison for your algorithm?
Yes, sir. Actually, this research means it is a vast, it is an ocean. So we cannot like point out the end. So just we have to predefine, we have to make the boundary. As my concern that we have to make the boundary. Within that only we can do our research. If it is going vast means the research will never end. So we selected this particular this concept only because as this is a like first step, we are going with that. And after that, with the improvement, we will continue with that biggest work. So that's why just we limit our work. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, fine. Thank you so much.
And good luck.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So we have our next presenter, Ekyam Pong, who would be presenting a paper on the effects of digital banking platforms on the profitability of a bank, the case of a private bank in Ghana. I request you to share your screen, sir. Yes, sir, you can start.
Yeah, hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Champon Owusu, and I'm coming from University of Ghana, Operations and MIS Department at the Business School. I'm a senior lecturer there, and I'm presenting on the effects of digital banking platforms on the profitability of a bank, the case of a private bank in Ghana. So in terms of my research background, all that this research is trying to do is, there are so many data banking platforms that are being utilized in the banking sector. And when it comes to the use of these, innovations in terms of customers in developing countries, it's not that much of something that is more pervasive. But the little that have been used, our research is trying to look at if the banks using this data banking platform, they are able to, or is able to lead to maybe their operational efficiency, which thereby can lead to maybe the profitability of the bank. And that's what this whole research is about. So having said that, the problem that we are trying to look at is there have been several studies which has assessed the impact of the data banking solutions on the profitability of banks. But most of these were done in the advanced economies or the developed world, whereas in developing countries, we don't have much of those kind of studies. So a lot of researchers are of the view that when we use the data banking platform, it has a positive impact on the profitability of the banks. In other words, it enhances their operational efficiency. The one that is enhanced, then it can lead to maybe their profitability. Equally, other researchers do not see a correlation between the two. In other words, some of them are also saying if you adopt it, it does not necessarily lead to any profitability. So this one leads to inconclusivity in terms of the results in the literature, and that's calling for further studies. And that's why this research was done in a developing country context using only one bank as a case study. So the purpose here is to assess the effect of data banking platforms on the profitability of the banks. And here we're also looking at the factors which contribute to the profitability of the banks from the use of data banking platforms. So the questions that are being asked here are first, how does data banking platform implementation create operational benefits? And the second one is how does data banking platform implementation affect the profitability in the banking sector? So we use a model called Dillon and McLean IS success model, and this model has been used extensively in the IS literature to assess the performance or the success of any information systems implementation. So the IS success model talks about the information quality, the system quality, and the service quality of the system, which may have an influence on the usage of the system as well as the user satisfaction of the system. And once the usage and satisfaction are made, then it can lead to the benefits of that particular technology to the organization that has adopted it. So the DBP here just stands for Digital Banking Platform. We are looking at the Digital Banking Platform information quality, which will lead to its system usage. The same thing, system quality, which will lead to the system usage as well as the user satisfaction. And the same Digital Banking Platform service quality, which will lead to its system usage and user satisfaction. And once these are done, then they will lead to the net benefits. So the next slide explains each one of the concepts. So if you talk about the digital banking platform information quality, all that we are saying is described as the extent to which information generated from the system is perceived by the user of the system as being accurate, complete, well formatted, and timely. And over there, some propositions were made. Then when you come to the digital banking platform system quality, we define it as the extent to which the user sees the systems under dimension discussion as easy to use, available, reliable, amicable, responsive, and flexibility. Propositions were also made for that one. Then when it comes to the digital banking platform service quality, that is also defined as the degree to which the user sees all the support needs such as responsiveness, reliability, empathy, and assurance offered to the system by the service provider. That one, two propositions were made. And the next one is the system usage. So that is also seen as a measure of how a user believes their output will be enhanced by the use of the system under review. Propositions were also made for those ones. Then come to the user satisfaction. So that one is defined as the extent to which the user believes that the data banking platform meets his or her requirement. And lastly, the net benefits. So is the extent to which the data banking platform is contributing to the success of individual groups, industries, and then organizations. So these were the postulations that were made based on the model that was used. So the methodology here is purely a qualitative research, and data collection was done through interview guide. And in all, I interviewed 28 employees from different departments in the bank. So the respondents are coming from IT and operations support, e-business, e-banking, internet banking, corporate stroke, retail, and they were selected based on purposive sampling technique because we wanted to know those who are really using the data banking platform for their operation. The interview were conducted through telephone because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and thematic analysis was used for the data analysis. So these were the findings. Recall that the first question talked about how the data banking platform create operational benefits. So here we look at the first dimension, which talks about the information quality. So one of the respondents said, information quality is excellent, real time, and maintains privacy. Because of this, I always use the bank A just referred to because it was anonymized. So it just, we have to anonymize the bank. We did not use the actual name, so we refer to it as bank A. So we use the bank A mobile app for my transactions. Another participant also said, information on the platform is simple to understand and use, timely and targeted to the appropriate audience. So this is an indication that the information quality of the data banking platform aids them in terms of their operational benefits. The second one was to do with the system quality. And here too, the same thing. One participant said the platforms are accessible with a high level of security, protection, robustness, and reliability. Similarly, another one also said, very flexible to use as well as easy and user-friendly, easy to understand and transact business. So here too, the indication is that the system quality of the digital banking platform is in their operational benefits. The third one is to do with the service quality. So a respondent said, very good service support. We always get 24/7 support from the Bank A IT staff. They give us active participation when we call them on the phone or even WhatsApp chats. Another one also said, exceptional, especially with technical support from the technology staff. So here too, it's an indication that the service quality of the digital banking platform aids them in their operational benefits. And another one was to do with the use. So here, one of them said, the platform provides convenience. I do not need to go through a lot of traffic to reach the banking hall to perform a transaction. Another one also says simplicity, convenience, and reliability, which is an indication that the participants are okay with the digital banking platform and use it for their daily operations. Now, the next one is to do with the satisfaction. So here, one of them said there's a high level of satisfaction from the usage of the platform, especially the use of the asterisk 37737 hash, which is some, USSD code that can be used to perform a whole lot of transactions. Another one also said most users are satisfied with the service. So here is an indication that the participants are satisfied with the digital banking platform, also use it for their operations. Now, the second question was about how the digital banking platform implementation affects profitability in the banking sector. And looking at the dimension that we have looked, so drawing from the themes of the interview, you see that the majority of the respondents believe that their satisfaction or attachment to the digital banking platform is as a result of the features of the information quality and service quality of the platform. This then implies that when all these constructs are positive, it will affect user satisfaction, which also generate the net benefits of the digital banking platform, which will also affect the bank's profitability. Also, the usage of the digital banking platform has a positive influence on the continual user satisfaction of the system, which leads to the realization of the net benefits to the bank, thereby affecting the profitability of the bank. We all know that every business, the more that you're able to reduce your transaction costs and you are able to sell more, then you make profit. So the last part is for any institution to maximize profitability, the operational cost must be reduced to its minimum. And that's what the digital banking platforms is doing for the bank in terms of reducing the operational cost and then aiding them in terms of their profitability. So these are contributions that are from the research. The first one in terms of contribution to research, it has broadened the information system literature through the lens or the theory of the Dillon and McLean there, which has been used to explain the ability of digital banking platform to improve customer experience, facilitate communication.
Dear presenter, you have 2 minutes left.
improve turnaround time, provide a competitive advantage, and improve the profitability of the banks. In terms of practice, we said for practitioners, this study has provided a deeper insight into what users look out for when assessing a bank's digital banking platform. It also provided a depth of knowledge on how banks can improve their profitability and gain a competitive advantage using the digital banking solution. This knowledge will serve as a basis for managers and decision makers in the banks to deploy digital banking solutions. The study will also help software architects in the design and implementation of software solutions that cater to the needs of bank customers and staff. The last one is for policy. So regulators of the financial industry and policymakers can use the finding of this research to draw up regulations and policies to guide the design, development, implementation, and deployment of digital banking solutions by banks and financial institutions. There's some limitation, and this one, like I said, is purely qualitative, and the scope is limited because it's only a case study of just one bank, so we cannot generalize it. So for future studies, there can be a survey that can look at so many of the banks and also expand the number of the respondents. Thank you very much, and that's my work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Any questions?
So I have a question. You have any used any specific tool for this thematic analysis? Thematic analysis. Have you used any tool?
Not necessarily. It was just purely, based on the themes. That was, the model that was the Dillon and McLean IS success model. So based on that, the interview guide was regarding the model, the constructs in the model that was used to collect the data. And out of that, the analysis was done manually through thematic analysis.
You have done it manually, thematic analysis?
Yes, manually, yes.
Okay. But in case if your data gets larger, then in that case, you must use certain type of tools.
Yes, I agree with you. Yes.
Yes. And you, how you have considered the results? Means only the positive aspects you have considered, or the negative ones also? Because there could be a possibility that we might get a positive response or a negative response.
Yes, you are right, Professor. The point is, this one was targeted more on the banking staff, and because of that, most of them really have good internet connectivity, and they work mostly from the banking, office. So that place, they don't have any issues regarding the negative aspect. That can be maybe cyber criminals attacking users, and also maybe internet connectivity issues or electricity issues. That's why the negative aspects were not brought in this. Almost all the respondents did not talk about the negative. They were all, okay with them.
Okay.
So are you planning to extend it further?
Yeah. This is just a complete research that I presented for this, conference. So if I was 10, then I would just do a survey where I would use a quantitative, questionnaire, and then gather more respondents, maybe perhaps more than 200, 300, and then can run regression modeling to see if the findings will be what we saw here as well.
Okay.
And if I may add to that, if I may add to what Prof said as well, is that you need to also look at different statistical analytics, systematic tools. There are fuzzy, positive, negative logic that you can look at. And also, if you want to look at some of the journals as well to be able to base some of the assumptions from, it's good for you to look at Prisma analysis for semantic review. And also looking at what you've actually, the case study conceptual framework, it can actually be expanded more.
Yeah.
And because from what you design here, it's not really that much. And again, your interviews needs to be expanded to much more larger scope if you want to focus on this, because you did mention about this, but also look at how you can compare your analysis with an existing data set, which is going to give it more robust form. And thank you very much for that, and good luck.
Thank you very much. But the point is, you know, there's a complete research. Springer is giving us only 10 pages. If you look at what we are publishing, only 10 pages. And the presentation here, we have only 10 minutes. So a lot of information are not in this one. So that's the main drawback. If we are to publish in a journal that we have, let's say, 25 pages, 20 pages, then you see that it is a complete work. There's so many information. But with Springer, we have to remove a lot of things. And that's why you see it to be more, scanty. But other than that, it's a complete work. Thank you very much.
And you can look me up as well in case you need a help in any of this as well on LinkedIn. So I'm happy to guide you guys and also to collaborate with you on any of this.
No problem.
Thank you.
No problem. I'm also a scholar like you, so no problem.
No problem. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We have our next presenter, Deepti K. Sarma, and she would be presenting her paper on online protection for children using a developed parental monitoring tool. Deepti, are you here?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You can start sharing your screen.
Is it visible, everyone?
Yes, yes, yes. You can start.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Deepti Kapoor Sarma from University of Twente. I, along with my co-author, Martin Stu, we are going to present a presentation on online protection for children using a developed parental monitoring tool. I would start with interacting with you by telling about how exactly nowadays children are using and involved in online media, because now and then, even especially when the COVID started, everybody started using online tools, especially the children from the age between 6 and 14 years old. And of course, they are not only involved with the educational tool, but also they are involved with different social media tools, Facebook, TikTok, and so many things, other things. But this is again a concern for the parents, because we do not actually follow different types of parental monitoring applications. So this is really a big concern or big worry for the parents, and to protect their children. Of course, because then probably children may become victim to different types of situations. They may have focused on risk-violated policies. They can also suffer from different types of psychological issues. They may have problems with sleeping if they keep on doing or interacting in social media or online tools. They may also suffer from cyberbullying and phishing. So in order to protect that, all of us have to we need to have a safe online environment. And to have safe online environment, we thought of using some kind of parental control tools, which can provide some kind of safety to the children as well as their parents, to think about in this direction. And also we explored different types of tools. So I hope you have learned about these tools, and you know some of the tools which we are just going to discuss about or talk about. One of the important and the very famous tool is Kids Place Parental Control. We have FemiSave, we have Norton Family, and Q Studio. So many parental control application tools are available nowadays. However, we have just selected some of the popular application tools based on the functionality. We also observed some of the important functionalities of these existing tools, and we observed that if you look at the screen, then you can see there are around 8 to 9 important functionalities available for these tools. However, very few functionalities are available free for the parents as well as for the children, which is really a big subject to discuss, because some of the important areas are still missing, absent, or either found in the paid version. So this is somewhere, have the motivation for us to work in the similar direction. And we really tremendously worked in the similar area and developed our own tool. So, so the first thing what we did is, first of all, we need to identify these parental monitoring applications. Then we really did some survey, reviewed, and tried to figure out how many parental application monitoring application functions are important for our tool, which of the functions are really missing and not provided to the user. I mean, it's a paid version. And then accordingly, we tried to build our own web application. And we also provided the application free for the users. So the next part would be continued by my co-author, Martin Stool, about the research questions. Yeah, Martin, over to you.
Thank you. So when handling the research questions, we decided to group them as 3 I's: identifying, improving, and implementing. First, identifying what aspects do parents value in parental monitoring applications. This is to understand which features are important for the parents. Improving, this is to decide what aspects of parental monitoring applications need to be improved or implemented, to identify features that might be lacking or be completely missing. And also implementing, the answers to the previous 2 questions we used to develop a parental monitoring application that addresses these limitations. So the methodology, we first selected the 5 most used and reviewed parental monitoring applications on the Google Play Store. Then we analyzed the newest 100 reviews since July 2020, since that's when the study was conducted. Afterwards, we gathered the requirements on what features do parents like, dislike, or find missing. And later on, we used that to develop an application. It's important to know that the first 4 features they can be used for free. Restricted features that allows you to limit the amount of time a child can use a certain application. Monitoring behavior that allows you to see how much time your child has spent on a certain application. Location feature allows you to see the location of your child. Web filters allows you to categorically remove certain websites like pornography or gambling. Monitoring web history and messages monitoring are self-explanatory, such as is blocking YouTube channels, and monitoring calls and SMS. It can be seen that the last 4 cannot be used for free and can only be used for premium applications. So the results for the different research questions. First, we can see the way we calculated the most desired features is by seeing how many times they're mentioned. And of course, there's the bias of features that are present for free are more discussed, but still we wanted to have an idea of what the parents want, and we can see that the restrictive features, monitoring behavior, and location features are the most discussed and desired ones. Also, there are 5 parents who requested message monitoring, and 1 who requested monitoring calls and SMS. For which features need to be improved, we decided that by dividing the amount of negative reviews by the amount of total reviews to get an idea of what is the proportion of the parents that are happy with a certain feature and that are unhappy. It can be seen here that restrictive feature is the most buggy one. Many parents didn't have a pleasant experience using it. Also, their messages monitoring calls and SMS can be seen that many parents wanted that feature, but it wasn't present. So other requirements are that the features need to have good performance and normal functions. They need to be affordable price, preferably free. Need to have good design, hard to bypass. The child shouldn't be able to use some hack to bypass the application. It need to be easy to configure for parents that do not have a lot of technical experience. So using these 2 results, we developed an Android application that can be installed on the child's device that stores the calls, SMS, and can be signed in through the Google account of the parent. And also the parent has a web application built in Svelte, and the information is stored in a Firebase real-time database. So this is how the application looks like. It has 2 tabs. The first is calls, that allows you to see who has called your child, how long have they talked, is it incoming, outgoing, to see what proportion, who are the most talked to people in the last month. Also, the second tab shows SMS and contacts to see who messages your child and who talks to your child. It's important to note that there is a blocking button present. We wanted to implement a feature in which you can block a contact, but unfortunately, Android removed that functionality, so it's only present in the UI for the web page. In conclusion, we gathered research on what do parents like and dislike and found missing in parental monitoring applications, and developed an application that addresses those limitations. And we try to develop all of the premium features, and we want to include monitoring messages and alerting parents of possible harmful text or certain bad images that are spread. And also we will try to implement monitoring the web usages to see what websites does the child visit, and also include YouTube history, because children nowadays spend the most amount of time on YouTube instead of using conventional websites. These are the references, and these are the links for the Android application and the web application. If you'd like, you can try and download them and use them. Are there any questions? Thank you for listening too.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, this application, has it been launched anywhere? And when you did your user test, did you use a particular environment for your sampling for the UAT for it? Based on the school or the children, and what is their age range?
It can be used for all kinds of children. We haven't launched it anywhere. We initially tried to, when we initially had the study, the plan wasn't to gather reviews from Google Play Store. It was, I originally go to different schools to find parents that would use the application, first survey them, and also ask them for user testing. And I contacted 50 schools on the phone and went to 20 schools in my city, but unfortunately, literally only one person answered the survey, so that wasn't a usable information, and I only tested the application on the few devices I have.
Okay, so I think probably you need to actually look at the real life scenario of the test run. Maybe you need to have an agreement or an MOU for you to be able to. And is this a core research focus area that you guys are looking into, or it is just for this conference?
Well, this was initially developed at my university, and we later on decided to publish it on. And we, depending on the feedback we might get from this conference, we will address it. And both.
Yeah, sorry, Martin. Yeah. So thanks for the question. So actually, like Martin mentioned, like, first of all, we worked on this for the University of Twente, and then finally we decided, because like he mentioned, we contacted several schools and, took feedbacks from the parents. But unfortunately, we didn't get enough response, whatever is needed for that. So then we decided, let's discuss in the university itself. And then later on, we have a plan to launch maybe after publication, and to work further after getting some kind of feedback.
Okay.
Yes, because in this feedback is really important for testing purpose.
Yeah. So, and also, one thing you can also look out for is that sometimes, the perception of kids are quite different because I like the way you've designed the application, because I was almost downloading that for the Android. But at the same time, you need to also look at inter-country UAT as well, so that you'll be able to now globalize, because whatever you do must also focus on the SDG 15 goals and African Union Agenda 2063. But this would be a very good positive one for you guys. And this is a very good research, and well done to you. And congratulations to you both.
Yes,
thank you
very nice done. Good work.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So we have come to the end of this session. I sincerely thank our authors and presenters for their excellent presentation and contribution in this session. And all our participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope this session was informative enough. We, on behalf of the whole team, thank you for the support during this 8th version and the previous 7 versions of this conference. We will be happy to see you in the 9th version as well. All the presenters would be getting their certificates through email within 2 working days. Further, all the papers have already been forwarded to the Springer board and the publication will be live within 6 months. Yeah, so just be cooperative with the staff. And I also thank our session chairs for chairing the session. This is a token of appreciation from our side. Sir, thank you for chairing the session. It was great to have you here. And to you too, ma'am, thank you so much for chairing the session.
Thank you, Deepika. Thank you.
Ma'am, thank you. So I
Thank you
just
so much.
request the participants to turn on their cameras for a quick snapshot, please. Just a minute. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody. See you next year. Bye.
Just a minute, please.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, all right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.